Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is Juliana Howard. I'm the Quality 2 Coordinator. We're going to be starting the provider meeting shortly. So excited to hear from y'all and have y'all with us. We'll be starting promptly at 1 o'clock.
I am a Florida girl at heart, although I root for Georgia. That's another story. We'll tackle that in another day. I'm really pleased to stand in front of you in this off-white dress because I just ate tomato soup and clearly I made it through with no splatter. Typically, So typically when I have to speak, I dribble and it's embarrassing and I keep a Tide pen with me at all times. And just to let y'all know, this was taken a while ago and it was heavily airbrushed. So I wish I looked like that every day, but I can't airbrush myself. So I'm so excited to work with you guys. I worked for Smart Start in North Carolina. I was in the Smart Start system for over 20 years. And I also worked in developmental disabilities in the birth to 5 realm before I started working with Smart Start. So I've been in early childhood for a long, long time. And actually before that, I worked with elementary school kids in an alternative school setting, actually in Leesburg. So I've been around the block with kids and the families and certainly worked with child care providers in my community in North Carolina. So I want to get to know all of you and I hope that it's okay, but I'd like to schedule some visits and come out and see your centers and homes and get a feel for what you're doing here in Marion County. A lot of our systems are really similar. From North Carolina to Florida, we have NC Pre-K instead of VPK. Ours is a little different in that there's an eligibility requirement that focuses on income. And what I love about here is anybody can be in VPK. So I think that's really cool. Again, I'm really looking forward to working with you guys and getting to know you. I'm a real hands-on kind of leader. So I like to know what's going on and I'm not just going to ask staff questions, but I want to get out there and meet all of you and see what's going on. So feel free, give me a call, say, Carrie, come on out, or let's do lunch or whatever, because I really want to get my feet wet here in Ocala. Thanks.
Thank
you. Awesome. Okay, so emails have been sent out to those providers who indicated in the November provider meeting that they would like to participate and celebrate Early Literacy Florida. That event is on January 25th at 9 a.m. where the whole state of Florida will be reading the 10 Little Fishes. We were only able to acquire 32 books, guys. All I can say is Audrey Woods and Bruce Woods are making a killing.
Yeah, they are. I tried to order 150 and I stocked every place that we could and Lily found some somewhere else. And we had other providers that are like, I could only find one and Barnes & Noble's out. So that's what we get when the whole state's reading the same book at the same time, on the same day, same everything.
So those emails are being sent out. So look at those emails and you can come pick up your book. Also included in the provider packet is information and resources about Celebrate Early Literacy, as well as Children's Week. Can you believe it? Children's Week is coming up, you guys. It's time for those hands and all those wonderful creations that you're going to send to Tallahassee to say, hello, we're here, we're happening. And nothing is proof as like 1,000 million children's hands hanging from the ceiling at the Capitol to show our legislature that, yeah, guess what? We're more than just providers. We're taking care of your future health. So in your packet is the information for Children's Week celebration. Please note that you need to send your hands to the ELC of Big Bend, and that address is in that paperwork. I'm going to repeat that. Please send your hands to the ELC of Big Bend. They are collecting them this year.
Can I add something? That is something different. In the past, we've had deadlines where you send them or bring them to us, and we will then send them up for you. In order to be a little more efficient, they are expecting them. And then Lily and Janet and the team did a great job. There are very specific guidelines, and I'm sure probably I'm taking Lily's thunder a little bit, but look in this packet, all the guidelines are in there, even right down to, you know, we have all these beautiful hands that are out here. We couldn't send them to Tallahassee because they didn't follow the structure that's required for the rotunda. So we were not going to waste them. We keep them here, and everybody that walks in loves them. And I see people studying them when they come to training all the time. So also, if you feel like doing hands to replace some of them or update or refresh our wall, we're happy to have those too. Thank you.
All right. So, moving on, are there any partners? Please raise your hand if you are a partner and you would like, and you have something to say. It helps me find you in this little itty bitty box called a Kinweasel. Nidra Bates. I know who you are. How you doing, Nidra? Did you have a question? Your hand is raised. Okay, maybe not. All right, Nidra, if you still have a question, feel free to type it in the chat. By the way, Gladys Torres from Anthony says, hello, Carrie. And Jeanette Broadhurst. No,
She's a provider.
she's provided. Did you have a question, Jeanette?
So usually our partner updates are usually from DCF or KCI or somebody else that would like something to be known to all of our provider community. So it looks like we probably don't have any
Yeah,
today.
and I don't see them, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Thank you so much, because we do have a lot to cover. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Ms. Janet Honor as she speaks about VPK updates.
We're gonna skip over, for those of you following your agenda, we're gonna skip over the EFS mod for update for the moment. There really isn't a lot to update. What I can tell you before Janet starts, there will be an EFS mod update initiated at the state level. Should not impact you at all. It's one of those updates that they do. But hopefully it'll initiate some of our new stuff that Janet's gonna talk about. So that's later this month, but it should not have an impact on providers.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm standing closer to the owl. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you about VPK updates, and then I'll also be talking to you about school readiness updates. With VPK, we're going to be discussing the progress monitoring. The first thing I want to say is thank you to all of our VPK providers for doing such an awesome job getting your progress monitoring done. I know it's challenging sometimes, especially with the holidays, and then the kids don't want to use the tablet. Sometimes they do. You know, you face so many challenges. But I've been looking at the reports, and I'm seeing the majority of our providers getting their progress monitoring to completed. The other thing I want to talk about with progress monitoring is as we continue to move forward with this, it's important for you to save your data, okay? This is extremely important. It is the provider's responsibility to share the STAR parent report with the parents 7 days after you have administered the PM, okay? That's what PM1, PM2, and PM3. Now, when you print these reports, of course, you give it to the parent. You can also print an extra copy and save for yourself, or you can, Renaissance have like a PDF version. You can download the PDF and save it to your file. You can also have the option of uploading these reports onto BlueJeans just to save for yourself. And here's why. I've had three providers who have said, I did my progress monitoring too, and I can't find it anywhere. Or I've completed progress monitoring too, and only 3 children are showing up. And when I check my report, I see what they're saying, yes, that's true. But what saved them is they let me know, Miss Janet, I printed out my STAR parent report. So I know I completed my progress monitoring too. When you print that report out, it shows the date that you completed that report. I'm sorry, the date that you completed that progress monitoring. So that's your proof to show that you're in compliance, okay? Now, uploading this into BlueJeans is not mandatory. It's just something that you can do if you want to cover yourself. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, but still try to save it, save a hard copy, or save it on your computer. Another report that you can pull is the STAR summary report. The STAR summary report is a report that I pull when I'm checking to see if you guys have completed your progress monitoring. It's going to show you how many students and the name of the students who have completed that progress monitoring or who have not completed the progress monitoring. This is another option that for you that you can print as soon as you're done completing that progress monitoring period. Okay, you want to save that for yourself. So if any issues arise in Renaissance, you can say, I'm covered. I did my work with my students. Okay,
Janet, may I add something that I found out today?
you can.
Okay, for those of you who run the parent report, I wanted to let you know that when you follow the directions to run the parent report, there's an option to add a signature line at the bottom of the report. Very, very cool, y'all, because you can get them to sign as they take the report, and then you can upload a copy to BlueJeans. And not only does that show that, you did it, but it shows that you gave it to the parent within that 7-day period.
Mhm. Yes.
That's what we do, is I print 2 copies and I make the parent sign one and we keep that in our BPK binder and then we give them the unsigned copy.
And that's very good to do.
Best practice.
That's
for
the
sure.
very best practice. Because had these other providers not had their copies of the parent report, I would have had to issue a non-compliance to them. Okay. So again, I just want to shout you guys out. Thank you for the hard work that you do. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Just have a little chance, like we've had students that are out sick
Mhm.
within that 7-day period, so I'm trying to keep like excuses from the parents and copy my sign-in sheets. That's what I should do to cover that 7-day window.
So, well, yeah, you just make a note
Make
for yourself.
They weren't there to.
Right, they weren't there to receive it, but you did print it out
Oh, okay.
and then and you have it. So that
Thank you.
works. You're welcome.
Another option is the rule says to make it available to the parent. So if you have an email where you're telling the parent, hey, I have a report waiting for you when you get back. I hope little Susie gets to feeling better. You can use that email as a backup too.
Yeah.
That shows that you made it available within that 7-day period.
Okay, and that is it for BPK. Okay. Now, I'm going to move on to school readiness. As you know, the 23-24 profiles will be coming up soon. And with this, I want you guys to remember that all providers are required to complete an E-Verify form, okay, for your new profile. With our school readiness providers, you guys are required to complete the E-Verify form and the provider pay rate sheet. The provider pay rate sheet is different this year. There's 2 sections to the form. We're going to be making those available to you soon. We're going to be updating those to show the new fiscal year. And we'll let you know when the profiles are ready for you to complete, okay? But I just want to make you aware of that. As last year, we had a lot of issues with the E-Verify form not being filled out or notarized. We do have a notary here. Yep. And Ms. Gigi
We have a couple.
up front is
We have a
a
couple, and
notary.
we're happy to help
Yeah.
whenever you need it.
Okay, now, This was not on the agenda, but while I have the floor, I'm gonna make this quick. Class assessments, this is extremely important. Assessments are part of your contract if you're a school readiness provider and you meet the 20% to get class done. It's important for you to have class assessment conducted for your center. With class assessment comes QPS registration. It's important that when Mary, Natisha, or Melissa email you and let you know, it's time for you to register for class observation. They send you out an email and give you 3 to 5 days to get that registration completed. Please respond to the email. Please go on to QPS and register your classrooms because we cannot get you scheduled for your class observation without your classrooms being confirmed and registered, okay? Another thing is when you have completed your registration and you are scheduled for your class observation, for SR providers only, you're given a 2-week window. It is important for you guys to remember if you have any changes at all to your teachers or your classroom, please notify us ahead of time. Please do not wait until your 2-week window is approaching to say, I want to change this teacher or, this classroom age level or care level has changed because that pushes your 2-week window, your observation back. When you change your teacher, the teacher has to be within that classroom for 15 days so that they can get acquainted and interact and adjust it with the students and vice versa for the student and the teacher. Okay. Yeah, and that is pretty much it for me.
I'd like to add something to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So we know provider profiles 23, 24 are going to come up pretty quick, right? This year, though, pretty quick, but later than normal because of the update that's coming out. There are going to be a couple additions to your profile this year. It's going to be very important that you participate in and look at, and it's just going to change a little bit of the information that you put in. Because of that, and something that we did pre-pandemic, we are going to schedule a couple of voluntary, they're not mandatory, but if you have new staff or a new director that you want to train, we're going to do a couple of walkthrough meetings on the profile. So we haven't really, Janet and I have tried super hard to get together to actually put these dates on paper, but we're just going to have a couple of them probably in February so that as we're going through the process, if you want to participate, I believe we can host them online because you can just log in and we can walk through a profile with you there. The other thing, we'll probably do one online so you can just get a refresher if you're interested. We'll probably do one in person where you can actually bring your computer like we did for the ARPA meetings and things. And we did this years ago, right? Everybody was in here with their computer. We pulled up one up there, and as we pulled them up and walking through each section, you all were actually filling out your profiles. And some of you, when you left, you were done. Other times, you need more information, maybe changing a schedule or a parent fee or something of that nature. So that is something that we're going to do. We also have to do provider orientation for the next fiscal year. So that schedule, we're going to put it out. Janet has already come to me, so I'm going to brag on her a little bit in front of everybody and said, I want to do this earlier than we have in the past. So we're going to get those dates out so you can get them on your schedule earlier than we've done it in the past. So you can check that box off because there's so much new that happens on a regular basis. And I don't know about you, but every time I learn something new, something falls out on this side. So it's like, we're really, we struggle with trying to maintain everything that we have to do all the time for every part of our year. And so we want to be as supportive and helpful as we can. All right.
We're done.
Well, no, we're not done. There we go.
Janet's
The
done.
screen went blank.
The screen thought it was done.
I was like, no. I don't know what's going on with the connection. Just bear with me, guys, online. But our next up is Miss Michaela Powell from Compliance Corner, and can't wait to hear what she has to say.
I feel like it's the wall. When in doubt, check the plugs, right? It's always something.
Hello, everyone. Today for the compliance corner, I'm going to speak about child attendance and in reference to the rule and reporting on your attendance. Per the rule 6M-4.5, it was amended back in June of 2022. Reimbursement shall be authorized for no more than 3 absences per calendar month per child, except in the event of extraordinary circumstances, in which case the coalition or designee shall document approval for payment based on written documentation provided by the parent justifying the excessive absence for an additional 10 days. Extraordinary absences does not include vacation or recreational time. Okay, we have some extraordinary circumstances, but are not limited to hospitalization of a child or parent with appropriate documentation, illness requiring home stay is documented, death in the immediate family with appropriate documentation, court-ordered visitation with appropriate documentation, unforeseen documented military deployment, and then doctor's appointments for health-related appointments. I'm sure it could be some other ones, but it's a case-by-case basis. You can contact us and we can, see if that would fall into the extraordinary circumstances. The total monthly reimbursed absences shall not exceed 13 calendar days. Okay, in your statewide provider contract for school readiness, the provider agrees to notify the coalition in writing if a child enrolled is absent for 5 consecutive days with no contact from the parent by the close of business on the 5th day. In accordance with the state statute, if the need for care cannot be reestablished, then the coalition will notify the provider and the parent that school readiness funding will be discontinued. The end of eligibility for funded childcare services will be 14 days from the 5th day that the child was not in attendance with no contact from the parent. So if you have a child that's out, multiple days, 5 days or more with no contact from the parent, you can contact us. We can make contact and place it within their notes as well to advise that we have made contact as well, letting, seeing if the parent, if there's an issue, if they still need services. Sometimes, with the guardian situation, sometimes they go to a different guardian, they go to a different county, and the child, sometimes the systems don't link up and the child is able to go in another county. Then this poses getting paid in 2 counties, because you may be saying, okay, well, maybe it's 3 or 4 days. And so I'm saying they're not here, so I'm going to get paid for those days because they haven't said they're not coming back. But then the days that you're getting paid for, they're starting them there those days because they didn't let you know. So to kind of keep it from that and having to pull money back from you or vice versa from the other provider, that would be helpful. Just make sure you contact the coalition. We'll document the at least 3 contacts. We will try to make the 3 contacts. Once you contact us and let us know that the parent, you have not had any contact with the parent, we will try to contact regarding those excessive prior to disenrollment. Any questions?
Michaela, does this go for VPK attendance also is the question?
No, the VPKs, the attendance is different as far as, what do you mean, the reporting?
Amy, do you mean reporting? But, and then who do they contact specifically? Is there a specific?
They can contact family services as far as if it's the 5 days or
Mhm.
more, they can contact family services and they can make contact with the parent to see if there's any issues.
And then Amy said yes, in regards to reporting.
So can I jump in?
Go ahead.
So VPK follows the 80-20 attendance rule, so VPK is a little bit different. The really big part of reporting when a child is absent is if they are a child that is like a Riley Wilson child, let's say, or have involvement with DCF or another agency, you are taking on the liability of that child being enrolled, which is where a lot of this comes into play. When you report it, and what Michaela was saying about you reporting it to family services, just remember your confidentiality rules, right? You can report it by, we have a group email, it's familyservices@elc-marion.org. When you report a child absent, you only want to use the first initial and the last 3 digits of their last name. But typically, we can tie it back if you make sure you put your site name in there and the date. So if you want to send an email, you can. So VPK is a little bit different when it comes to reporting, though. You're going to report regular absences. If that child is absent more than 20% of the total program, it's a lot. It's a lot for me to get into, which I feel like some of you might benefit more if we can provide that rule to you in writing. Would that be helpful? Do you need a refresher on VPK absences?
I'll wait for her to respond. While we're waiting on her to respond, do you have another question? Do children who attend therapy at a public school need a letter for days missed?
I think you should document
Yeah,
it.
document it.
For sure. If they're absent for the entire program, that's one thing, but if they are there and they check in, then they're there. They're there for the day.
Okay, so I got half and half response. Some said, yes, they need a refresher.
Okay.
On both in writing.
Okay,
And then others were like, no, I think I'm good.
okay. So maybe in one of our upcoming newsletters, we can go ahead and give you a refresher on the attendance rules. Would you write that down? I forget. And that way, everybody has it and everybody's on the same page, because I know the rules, and I was listening to Michaela say it, and I'm like, it's a lot to
Yeah.
take in. So, and the rule just changed last year, so to give you more absences that you get paid for school readiness, so, thank you.
As a provider, if we've made contact and then no contact with the parent. So the parent says after 3 days, we call and the parent says they're sick. And then we call the following Monday and they're still sick. And then we call and it's now been 2.5 weeks. And now we're not getting any response. Is it acceptable to move forward with withdrawing that student from, per our handbook in our
Mhm.
school, lack of attendance is,
Right.
because there are other kids who want that spot.
Mhm.
So-
Yes, you can. And then, like I said, you can contact the school readiness and family services, I'm sorry. And they can try to make contact as well. And then if there's no contact, then you can move forward with the disenrollment.
But even if there is contact, isn't there a
Mhm.
level of
And then
absence that's already occurred that we can?
Right, and they
proceed
have to
with?
have documentation as well. I mean, it just can't be, okay, sick, and then they don't have a doctor's note or.
Or a note from the parent.
Yeah.
But you should follow your handbook, and that's why, so for VPK, you're required to upload your policy to your application for VPK, because a lot of people question, well, for VPK, I can't really kick the child out or withdraw or whatever, for whatever reason, but you are following your business practices. Those, and typically your business practices align with the rule pretty well. So follow that. If you've made contact with the family, then you know what the situation is. If they go MIA, fall off wherever, then you do follow your handbook, follow your guide.
I asked, because Monday we had a mom and kid show up. We hadn't seen them since December, at the end of December. We've been calling, lost contact. Now they're not even responding. And then she says, one, she owes me money.
Yeah.
No.
Because she's still responsible for that
Or
parent copay. At a minimum, really, she's also responsible for that differential payment per my handbook.
Mhm.
But then also, she is assuming that I'm going to take her child back on a Monday morning. And we had already withdrawn her child from our ELC portal because over 2.5 weeks had elapsed
Right.
since we'd seen the child last. So then she calls, and you guys are trying to put the puzzle together.
Mhm.
And so in the future, we can do a better effort of reaching out to make sure that you're aware.
Just so you know, they call us when something goes wrong. They
Yeah.
never call us when you
Yeah.
all do amazing jobs.
Yeah.
They only call us when they don't like what you say.
But I just wanted to clarify that we have no obligation to continue to hold this spot for someone. And then when they show up, they're mad. But she also didn't have the hundreds of dollars she owed me for the differential and parent copay to
Right.
cover the gap of time either.
So you had a lot of backup documentation to support your decision to withdraw that parent. And unfortunately, it's never easy to deliver that kind of news, but that was a hard lesson for that parent to learn. And hopefully next time they'll give you a call or whoever they end up with, because they're probably going to try to go somewhere else.
So we have another question. In regards of the children that miss due to an appointment with, like a regular therapy type appointment, do they have to have a letter from the parent for each missed appointment? Or can they do something like, I don't know, like a signed schedule from the parent? Is that an acceptable documentation?
They're missing the full day, or is it just is this the one that's speaking about
When
going
the
to
child-
therapy during the day?
When they're going to the public school for therapy
And they miss,
and they miss a day at the site, is what I understand.
We have some children that are not there yet, but they're on the waiting list. They'll be with us 3 days and therapy for 2 days.
Mhm.
Sounds like that's what they're asking.
I
So if
think
you
if
have a
it's a set,
documented schedule at
Yeah.
that point,
yeah.
mhm.
If it's a set schedule and it's a recurring appointment, then, I mean, I think having it on file is the biggest thing you want to make sure.
Okay. And Michelle Moreno says she'll give you a call after.
Oh, she can
It just, what,
send me an email and then I will have to call because I don't have the phone.
okay, and your email is?
mpowell@elc-marion.org.
I don't know how you got so lucky to not have a phone, but if you call me, I'll go get her from Vanessa.
Right.
I think that covers all the questions.
And then, of course, if you need anything else, we have myself as the compliance director. We have Ripple Dean Nicholas, she's here. And we also have Delania Price, and you can either email or contact us by phone or them by phone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
My turn.
Alyssa's turn.
So ARPA round 2. ARPA's like your favorite word, right? We have completed all of our meetings for ARPA, so thank you for indulging us on that. A lot of you have been asking, when are you going to get paid? So a lot of people were gracious enough to say, pay me in the new year. Remember, we talked about how the bank limits the amount of money we can release at any given moment. So there's a lot of you that got a lot of really decent sized payments. So we, Marcy and her team in the finance department have been releasing payments pretty as steadily as they are able to. We are now, and it's by the time that you got, the way she chose it is by when you got certified. So some of you unfortunately were working with me back and forth and we had to have corrections made. So some of you got certified later. We are now into the end, obviously we're into the end of January, but we're going into February with those ARPA round 2 payments. Some of you are still expecting your ARPA round 1 installment payments, either 2 or 3. Those are still getting paid as well. But we're looking into now, we're moving into February. So when you're going, when am I getting paid? Or you're trying to make plans, some of you are like, I'm trying to get a new playground. Perfect, you should. Ask for them to come out in March to give you, or just start that preliminary planning just to allow enough time. There's a lot of things that we contend with to get those payments released to you, as well as your regular payments and things like that. So we appreciate your patience. Regarding ARPA round 2, there's another thing that's going to be ARPA round 2A or B. I don't know what you want to call it, but sometime in the month of probably April or Mayish of this year, all the leftover money in the state of Florida from the ARPA funds that was released to providers is going to be collected back for whatever reason. Some people didn't cash their check. Hopefully that's not a thing, because hopefully they got direct deposit. But there were a number, I will tell you, we have 31 providers. No, sorry, let me go down. Next update. We have 12 providers that declined it completely. So we don't want it. So for whatever reason, and we asked them, tell us why, so that we can tell the feds if they did this differently, you would say yes. But they're like, no, I just don't wanna. So, and that's okay. It's their choice, right? But that's money left on the table, right? So we are just one county out of how many, 60 something, right, in Florida. So that happening, if every county had 12 providers that said no, that's a little chunk. So we don't know what the process is going to look like. I know you love it when I say that to you. It makes it fun, right? Unpredictable.
We're never bored.
Never. Always on your toes. But basically, April, May-ish, you're going to get a call or an email, or we'll do it in this meeting, an announcement that says there's possibly another application that's ready for you to fill out, okay? At this point, I don't think we're going to do the meetings because it should be one survey, very similar to your installment payment surveys. Hopefully, the biggest issue we have with that were people saying they spent $300,000 when we only gave them $25,000. So it's really important to pay attention to your budgets, everybody. You know that. We've learned that lesson through this process. So more to come on that. That's just a teaser announcement. Any questions about ARPA round 2? Dr. Sarah?
Isn't there also money for teachers for I think I'm in a group and on Facebook, and I think like Broward County maybe already has done something where
Yes.
teachers can get like $500 or something?
That's next on my list to tell you about.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes, that's a great segue. Is there anything online? Any questions?
There's no questions on the line.
Okay, perfect. So yes, there's something called, so you've been hearing me talk for about 3 or 4 months now about this workforce initiative, right? There is 2 parts to that. There are a lot of parts to it, but there's 2 that I'm going to talk to you about. One is workforce initiative. So that is an initiative that we're going to roll out first. And that is one I've been teasing about for a few months, that will pay teachers and providers for recruitment of new staff, upskilling of new staff, which means training, and retainment of new staff. So there's a stipend available for those of you that have had your teachers with you for years, okay? And over that time, they have gotten their CDA, or some of you have achieved your director's credentials, or all the way up to your doctorate degree. So there are levels of that those teachers and yourselves that are involved in your sites will be eligible to apply for. That's part 1 of it. Part 2 of it, I'm going to ask Lily, I'm going to step aside and let her play this little video. It's going to introduce the next part. I love when she reads my
The
mind.
American Recovery Plan Act provides funding to eligible child care providers and their staff. The current initiatives focus on 2 areas. First, to build a world-class workforce. And second, to strengthen adult-child interactions. Why do these initiatives exist? Research has proven that funding for high-quality early care and education has a significant return on investment. The state of Florida has prioritized additional ARPA funding to build the knowledge and skills that drive high-quality adult-child interactions. Those interactions create environments where children can thrive and succeed in school and beyond. There are several funding options, both for the provider and the early learning educator. To get started, all interested child care providers begin by completing the provider eligibility application. This web-based form utilizes provider information to determine eligibility and continue the application process. Once the online form is reviewed and approved by your ELC, the provider can choose to submit 1 or more applications for funding. Under the Educator Director Request, there are 5 possible bonuses. Recruitment, health and safety, class bonus pre-K, class bonus infant toddler, and upscale director. Bonuses are available for early learning educators who are hired on or after July 1st, 2022, and meet the requirements of each bonus by June 30th, 2023. Once requirements are met, the provider submits a request on behalf of each eligible educator who may receive between $500 to $750 per applicable bonus. There are 2 additional funding opportunities. The first is if the provider has a class score of less than 5 or no class score, they can apply for the Child Success and Class Observer Grant. Upon completion of requirements, providers submit individual employee records using the Child Care Supply Building option. The awards range from $500 to $1,100 each and are passed on to the eligible ELE. The second is if the provider is contracted for school readiness or PPK and his latest class score is a 5 or higher, they can apply for the Continuous Quality Improvement Grant. Approved providers may receive up to $19,800 and then submit individual training records and expenses for verification. The ARPA online application system supports both provider applicants and the ELC staff. Resources are available in the system, and all information, including uploaded documentation, electronic signatures, approvals, confirmation of funding, and follow-up actions are managed online. Users can log in and track the progress of each submission all the way through payment in a user-friendly dashboard.
So that's a lot. So hopefully, I know you have a lot of questions. We are still trying to get some answers. Our goal is to roll this out beginning of February. You may see some pieces of information trickle out over the next couple weeks, maybe, if we can pull it off. We are in the process of, we will do our best to. This is a big undertaking, which is why we ask you to come to the ARPA Round 2 meetings when we did, because there's a lot at stake here and there's a lot up in the air, and it's a lot to process for you and it's a lot to process for us. One of the things you probably noticed, because I saw pens go right when they said this, eligible teachers from July 1st, 2022. So you're like, well, it's almost February 2023. So we will be able to, from our understanding, we will be able to look back at all the training that has occurred with people that you've hired from then. So when you're doing these applications, some of these are going to be really easy for you because your teachers have already done it. They've already gone through a lot of this. So we're going to do the best we can to help you organize this, and we will try to organize it as well as we can. Marcy has done a lot of work on our behalf to get the electronic forms, which is going to be done through WebAuthor. So any of you familiar with WebAuthor?
There's only about 11 coalitions that use WebAuthor right now. And that's basically what you saw here is the basis of it. As of this morning at 10:30, we have started building our database. So we are moving forward. This will, like it said, keep it all in one location. If any of you did the phase 1 through 5, 6 grants and those individuals, that
Marcy, come closer.
is really taking the place. This is taking the place of those paper contracts at this time to make it simplified. The information we are uploading right now into the database is your information. So a lot of it may already be pre-filled out for you. You will have to initially double check the information. I am pulling it out of MOD, but it'll keep track of everything that you need to do, and it'll duplicate that on all of these. I believe there's, Elizabeth, 5 or 6 different applications.
It'll end up being at least 5, because remember I told you there's 2 different ones. There's the Workforce Initiative, which is a whole different thing than the world-class workforce. So there will be at least 5. Now the Workforce Initiative piece that I talked about, upskilling, retaining, and advertising for new staff, that may roll out paper first because we don't have the platform to make it electronic. It maybe end up like a PDF file. So that one's gonna be a little bit different for us. It's 2 different pots of money. I think that's something else that is important to say. And Janet asked me a question, and originally I was like, I don't want to answer that because I don't know the answer to that. And her question, but the truth is that we need to find out the answer. And I told her that we'll find out the answer. If you were not eligible to apply for ARPA round 2 funding, can you apply for this? I believe the answer is going to be no. I believe you still have to be eligible, but we will make sure we find out that answer.
So we have a question.
Sure.
Is the workforce initiative only for contracted providers?
That is a great question. And that is a question that we also are going to be asking. Portions of it, yes. Other portions of it, no. They're for everybody. So we are building this as if all providers are contracted with us. So we are trying to populate it as if, and it might be an individual with those non-contracted providers. Maybe we can get them to contract.
And like the one going through WebAuthor, it does have, try to simplify this, it does have pieces already initiated in it that if you are non-contracted, it will actually only populate, it'll gray out the applications you're not allowed to apply for.
Right.
So whatever you see highlighted, those are the ones that you're allowed to, that you are eligible to apply for upfront.
And so some of you have seen other counties rolling it out. We're all almost on the same path with it. There are a few counties that are a little bit further ahead, but we're all pretty much in the same boat. So if you hear something or you have a question or you hear something from another county, let us know because that's very important. Dr. Sarah?
I just am wondering if the money for the teachers or the educators, is it gonna go directly to them instead of funneling through the business? 'Cause like-
Yes.
Okay, because it would be nice to avoid an overinflation of like
Yeah,
money
yeah.
coming to us that we then have to pay taxes on, but then we give to them.
Yes.
In these applications, you will have to, and it'll pull it up right there, collect, or have your teachers fill out the W-9s and direct deposit forms for us. That is a huge undertaking, if you know how many teachers are in Marion County for our finance department.
Well, and what about the, like, I mean, I think we all try our best to not have a revolving door, but there are people who don't meet the expectations of DCF and like, and so like, what happens if somebody submits it and then?
You will be able to terminate those contracts. You will be the one in control. The teachers will not be filling out. It is through your portal. What you will end up doing, the teacher will sign the contract. They will sign it via text message.
Yeah, they can sign it on their
So
phone.
At the bottom, if the teacher is not sitting there with you while you're doing the teacher's contracts, it says signed by cell phone, and you put in their cell phone number and it will send them a text message for them to validate that you are submitting this on their behalf.
So, but then if they became ineligible because they were no longer employed with me, but went to another provider, theoretically, another provider could initiate a contract on their behalf?
Potentially. So there'll be a queue in the system and
Yeah.
our staff will be able to see different queues and you'll be able to see different queues. There's going to be a learning curve, of course, and not just for you guys, but for us too. So as we go through it, we'll be able to answer some of these questions in our best. We're going to do the best we can, and we believe WebAuthor will assist us in doing this to reduce some of those concerns about duplicating teachers and things like that. So as we get closer, we may pull together another meeting or let you come in for a Q&A, something like that where we can really connect with you if you need. Yes.
Okay, so we have another question.
Okay.
Just FYI, 9-minute warning. Public schools do not qualify for ARPA. Does this mean we would not qualify for the workforce initiative?
Potentially. Let us look at more details on it. Any other questions in here? So more to come. We really thought it was important for us to at least show the video, let you see it. I'm hoping we can maybe publish that video either on our YouTube channel or on our website so that people can go back and read it or watch it. It's a really quick, easy way to tell you more about that program. And you can show your teachers if you're interested too. There are going to be some pieces of this that will be some work on your part as far as for your staff. It is worth it. It is worth it to keep your staff. Because I will tell you, as you know, I don't have to tell you, but I will tell you, staffing will continue to be our biggest issue, and this is a buffer to that. It may not end all of our problems with our staff or lack thereof, But it may encourage you to be able to give a little bit there. In one of them, I believe it's the Workforce Initiative, there's a sign-on bonus. So if they stay 30 days, they get an extra amount of money that we will give you to give them. If they stay, a year, there's an extra bonus there. If they've been there, maybe you hired them last July and they've stayed the whole year, give them that bonus, So we are trying to build the workforce and trying to entice people to come on over and to give you a little bit of buffer as you move into that $15 an hour workforce pay that has to happen. That will eventually be the normal. Any other questions?
So for those of you who want to see that video again, the link is in the chat. And don't see any other questions.
Awesome, because I have a pop quiz for them.
Oh, good.
Did you want to add anything?
No, I just.
Okay, pop quiz. We're not talking about any grants right now. Is it legal by DCF standards to let an infant sleep at nap time in a sleep sack? Yes or no? Can you use a sleep sack?
Yes, sleep sack?
Can you use a sleep sack?
As long as the arms
Are
they arms out?
It's a sleep sack. I'm not telling you anything more than that.
We're getting,
Just yes or no?
so we're getting some yeses, some no, as long as it's sleeveless
So
with a doctor's.
you just proved why we're going to share this new class with you, because we also learned the same lesson. We had a provider who was cited, actually a parent came in and said, I want my baby to sleep in a sleep sack. And the provider's like, no, that is a liability. Nope. Guess what? It's allowed. So one of the things with caveats, right? It has to, there can't be little flaps and things like that. There is a whole detailed piece to it, right? Which you guys, proud of you for knowing that there's differences between their arms being down, being swaddled, right? What's that?
Swaddling.
Swaddling does require a doctor's note, yes. Sleep sacks you can use as long as you want to make sure you read the rule. So one of the things that our staff took was a safe sleep course. It was online. So we're all ambassadors now, aren't we guys, in the quality department
Yes.
on safe sleep. So
I was educated as well.
yes, I learned a couple things too in there. We all have room for refreshing, right? And there were some things like, I thought I knew everything about babies. Granted, mine's 9, so hey, here we are. But it is a great refresher. It takes about 30 minutes to do it. Once you're done, it doesn't have CEUs tied, but it does have training hours. Very important for us to all take a lesson from the experience of one of our providers and use that to grow from. So we wanted to share that resource with you. And Lily's going to cover it on her podcast. Let me give her the last 3 minutes for her, the rest of hers. One thing I want to say before I give her 2 minutes and 30 seconds is I would love your feedback on the class observation experience you've had with our third-party contractor, Teachstone. So if you want to send me an email, tell me if it was good, bad, other. If you don't know who they are, but somebody came and did a class observation, I want to know that too. I just would like your uncandid feedback. It is just between me, you, and Carrie. We are all about return on investment this year, and I really want to find out if what we have done to try to make things easier is actually doing it. And I don't know that unless you tell me what's going on and what your experience is. Okay, so you have 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes, period.
And anybody who has any ARPA success stories,
Oh, yes.
please feel free to share them with Wendy and we'll get her email out to you as well. With all of the ARPA money coming in, we'd like to know, how has it made your site?
And actually, you can just send them to quality@elc-marion because you're used to sending it there, and we can get them over to Wendy. So if you have success stories of any kind, actually, those speak volumes. So any of that. Thank you. Lily. You have 40 seconds. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that the PD Talk podcast has been rescheduled to 11 a.m. So it's going to be 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. this Friday, and then we'll go back to our regular schedule after that. One of the things we're going to go over is the DEL Florida Early Childhood Educator stipends had a change to them. We're going to go into details about that. And we're going to talk about the opportunity for ages and stages training, ASQs, and also if you are one of those providers that have been having trouble with your VPK Renaissance user admin login, can you tell I'm just so excited about it? So excited, I'm gonna cry. Anyway, no, just kidding. For those of you online, I was just kidding, I'm not crying in here. We're gonna go over that too, and I have that resource available on the handouts for you to download. And I've been getting a lot of messages. Everybody wants that video. The link is in the chat. But this meeting is also recorded and on YouTube. And it's available for those of you who may or may not be able to know where it is on our website. And it takes about a week for it to upload and be available. But if you go to our website, elc-marion.org, because I've had so many people asking, I want to make sure you guys know. Isn't it gorgeous? It's just gorgeous. Okay, so you close this out. You see this little link, this little box with the red triangle in it? You click on that, and that takes you straight to our YouTube channel. And that has all our recorded meetings. And you will also, so if you have trouble with the link, you can also come back and listen to the meeting. Guess what? This also gives you no excuses. You can listen to catch up on all the stuff you might have missed. So there's that, and a lot of people are asking for that link. We may have to email it. Okay. Maybe put in a constant contact with you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll put it in a constant contact for you guys. And if you need in our professional development newsletter, there was also a link sent for Safe Sleep if you're interested in that training. And there was also a handout uploaded in the handouts. All right, any other questions or concerns that we need to address?
Oh, VPK. Sorry, I'm back.
What?
VPK outreach. If you want to do a VPK open house, if you're expanding your VPK program, we are hosting our second one tonight at another provider. I've got 8 other applications out with providers, but if you're increasing your enrollment for VPK, opening up a new classroom, you're not a VPK provider, but you're gonna be, you let me know and we'll send you the application. We can help with food and door prizes, and families can get a $50 gift card. It's a good incentive. So if you need that support, reach out to us. Sorry, there. You said the wrong words, which is anything else.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. We are only 1 minute over, not too bad. And you
Have a
guys-
great day, everybody. Thank you.
You have a wonderful rest of your day.
If you're VPK, don't leave in here.